If you're taking your dog swimming, you want to make sure you have an underwater camera with you like a GoPro to allow you to take photos and videos in the water, but also under the water. In fact, my GoPro allowed me to see that both of my springers are four-wheel drive puppies, meaning they swim with their front and back legs. And when I was using this, I did not have to worry about my professional photography cameras, my vlogging cameras, or my phone getting wet because I was able to bring my GoPro, which can go under the water up to a certain level, but I actually prefer to use it with an underwater housing system so that it has an added layer of protection. So I put this right inside of this device, and then on this device, I actually attached a floating handle so that while I was playing with my puppies, if anything were to happen, if I were to need to grab one of them or help one of them, or if they happen to be swimming to me particularly fast and I just needed to let go and grab a hold of them so nobody got hurt, I could let go of the camera, and instead of this thing sinking to the bottom of the pool, the lake, the ocean, wherever, it is just going to float on the water. So this gives me a really good grip. I can hold it nicely and I don't have to worry about dealing with the caging or making sure I have it at the right angle. I can tip this at different angles with my cage, and that allows me to then get what I need, hold it underwater, but if worse comes to worse, this is going to float up on the top of the pool so I can easily grab it later on after the fact. So there's a lot of options with this, depending on where you're swimming and how you're going to be swimming, your underwater housing, or even just your camera, you can buy filters for different depths of water. If you are going to be doing that, I recommend you try it before you're filming your dog. I have used those underwater filters before, and I followed the directions, and it tinged my footage in a way that I didn't like and didn't color correct the way that I had hoped that it would color correct. And so trying it before you use it on your dog as the model is usually a good choice, so you know when to use it and when not to use it. I actually opted for this swim to not use any of the filters at all and do any color correcting that I needed in post later on. And so this was a really easy way for me to just film my dogs and to have fun, and it wasn't huge. My cameras, my professional cameras for photography and videography and all those things are big and they're heavy and they require big underwater devices to protect those things, which I do have and have used before, but they're much more clunky to carry around. So just having a nice little GoPro is going to be really, really helpful. And there's other versions of this as well. In fact, I have different versions of this that are not GoPro, but I do like the GoPro the best because it was really truly designed to be higher quality. And the nice thing is it's a wider angle lens, so you will have some lens distortion on the outsides of your videos and your photos, but you are going to get a lot of really cool stuff when it comes to how you're going to be filming. Mine is the GoPro Hero 10, and it is nice because it has a screen on the front and a screen on the back. So if I happen to be vlogging and filming myself, or us, me and my dog, I can see from the front what I'm going to be recording. So as I am using this, I'm always keeping my lens protectors on that. I always make sure I keep this in a safe housing so that it is not getting scratched up because there's nothing to cover this screen with, but I'm very, very careful of how I'm using this. And then I am just using this to capture all those really cool memories, and then I can get that from the app, or I can take the micro SD card out and pop it into a reader and just transfer it over to my computer. And so with this, I started out with this in my hand as I was filming my dog. So this was attached and ready to go, and all I had to do was carry it into the pool with me, and then I could film above, below, and I made sure I got some really cool cinematic type shots while I was working with my dogs. Of course, my focus was going to be on my dogs. I made sure I was paying attention to where they were, so I just kind of aimed the camera in their general direction for most of what was going on because this was my puppy's first swim as adults in an in-ground pool. So when they were babies, they've been in pools above ground and in ground, and they've been to the ocean. They've also been to a pond and a lake. So they've had the experiences, but they haven't been in a pool where they could walk into it since they were babies. So I was very focused on what they were doing. I just kind of aimed it in their general direction. I actually handed it off to, I was with my mother. She came swimming with us. So she had it for when I was busy taking care of my dog. I just had her hold it. Usually it was off when she had it, but she had it on for, a few seconds at one point. And so we filmed the girls as they were playing, as they were swimming. I made sure I got under the water to get them swimming toward me or swimming away from me. I made sure that I was paying attention to where it was, because as you dunk it under the water, you get a really cool transition from above to below. Now, as you are coming back up out of the water, it's important to remember water will be on your lens. It is going to be kind of water droplets. You're going to have some moving water, so it's going to lead to some kind of weird footage. You're going to have things kind of smeary for a minute, and if you have those droplets on there, you're going to need to use your finger to wipe those off because they will just sit right there. they could potentially hinder or even ruin some of the content that you're going to be creating. So be mindful as you come up, film what you need to, but if you can, just kind of swish your hand in front of that and dry it off or blow it off to make sure you don't have those droplets or that kind of a ring of water, which after you swish it, you're also going to have kind of like a weird meshy version of footage for a second, and then it will clear and you'll be able to film again. Do also remember that when you are underwater, it's going to have all these blue tones here. So when you come back up to the surface, you will kind of have a weird reddish hue for a minute until it adjusts to the ambient light and goes back into that neutral setting so that it gets the colors correctly inside of what it's doing. So you're going to have a little bit of a transition from coming up out of the water. So if you do not want that, you can turn it off under the water and then bring it up and take care of it and restart it. But honestly, I just kind of let it roll. This is a GoPro. It's made for taking longer videos. It's made for, using it in an athletic and engaged mode. So I just kind of let it go, and I use what I can out of that. I can do some color correcting. You do have to make sure you remove that water because you can't do that in post. But this gives you a really good opportunity to film your dogs. So I highly recommend if you are using this while you are swimming, get them jumping in or walking in, swimming to you, swimming away from you, get it under the water, get it above the water. Make sure you get a lot of different angles. Just film everything possible and then use what you can from it later. And if your dog is already well-versed in swimming, you already know how this is going to play out, then you can schedule in your mind different shots that you want to be taking at different points and get those while that is happening in real time. But if you are just introducing your dog, you're just starting to work, or they haven't really gone swimming as much and you want to be a little bit more present and mindful, then you wanted to just kind of spray and pray, as we call it in photography. You just aim it, you get what you get, and then you get available to use footage and however you are going to be using that. You want to make sure that you are using what you have the best that you can, but you can't necessarily control it if there's other factors going on. If you've got a lot of people there to help you, that's of course going to level up what you are doing and make it a lot easier on you. So cannot recommend these enough. I'm going to link mine down below. This is the one that I use. It's really great footage. I use it for our action things. I use it when I'm not carrying around my big cameras. You can take photos on this as well. They're of course not as good as a traditional professional camera, but you get what you get with this. This is a really good opportunity for you to get underwater, half above, in the water, aim down, and you don't have to worry about the safety of this because it is made to go in water up to a certain depth. If you have the cage, you can go even deeper and protect it even more. If you've got one of those handles, you don't have to worry about it sinking to the bottom. All you have to do is make sure you're respecting that it is a piece of technology, and if you slam it into something, or if you scratch at it, or if your dog gets too close to you and scratches at it, you might get some scratches if you're not being careful, but that again is the benefit of the cage. If your dog swims too close and kind of scratches this is a lot cheaper to replace than this, and that's going to allow you an extra layer of protection as you are creating content in the pool with your dog. Drop your question on this down below and follow along for more as we continue to help you level up and your dog parent life to give your pup the best life possible with the least amount of stress on you and the best documentation available to you for when you want it. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.